This is the Lexus LX, the luxury version of the current generation Land Cruiser 300 series, and it combines the best of Toyota, reliability and off-road capability, and of course being Alexified, it is ultra luxurious. And that is a fantastic combination, or is it? Are these overrated? And is there anything that this car does badly? Well, this is going to be a full detailed review talking about everything you must know before walking into a showroom, which means we do have a lot to cover. Like, share, subscribe, hit that bell, and let's get straight into the review. To explain why the LX is special, let's do a quick recap. The first generation came out in 1995 and it was Lexus's first SUV, which combined the reliability and off-road capability of the 80 series Land Cruiser and the luxury of an LS sedan. And the first gen was only sold exclusively for the US market. Onwards to 1998, the second generation of the LX arrived in Australia, and that version introduced a 4.7 litre V8, but the main formula remained the same, a luxury version of the 100 series Land Cruiser. And from 2007, the third generation came out and was produced all the way up until 2021, making it the longest running generation in the model's history. And here we are now with the current fourth generation. Like I said, this does share the TNGA-F platform as with the Land Cruiser, and these days you do have choice between the Range Rover, and on your screen are some other 7-seater alternatives if you don't want to go off-road. And the LX has a price range between 164,000 climbing past over 200,000 Australian dollars before on-roads. You also have the choice of a diesel and 2 petrol engines, 1 non-hybrid and 1 hybrid, and also a choice of models between luxury, the sports luxury version, which adds on a few additional features, the sporty F Sport, and the off-road version, the Overtrail. And when it comes to configuration, a decent selection for the exterior, but not too colourful, and you do have a selection of colours for inside as well, depending on the version. And what about ownership? Warranty, servicing, running costs, all that key information is on your screen. And let's now move on to the styling. Up the front, you have bright matrix LED headlights with LED DRLs, headlight washers for off-road driving, LED fog lights, and I do also like this big, bold grille. In my opinion, it definitely does give this car a lot of character. And coming to the side view, you get a set of 22-inch wheels with this two-tone paint combination, and they're also wrapped in highway terrain tyres, so if you are going to go off-road, it is worth investing in all-terrain tyres, or you can step up to the Overtrail, the off-road version of the LX. And looking down the bottom, you'll find side steps which are plastic, kind of cheap, but you do get LED lighting. And when you open the door, you're greeted by illuminated Lexus badging, and on these electric power folding mirrors, projection lighting, which shows an image of a Lexus logo. And finally, looking up top, roof rails and a power opening sunroof. And coming to the rear design, at the back, a full LED light bar with LED tail lights, individual Lexus badging, LX600 badging down here, a top subtle spoiler with dark tinted privacy glass from B-pillar to the back, plastic cladding down below, and a cover to hide the towing setup. But sadly, like the current generation Land Cruiser, there is no split opening tailgate, you just get a regular tailgate like on every SUV. But I think it is fair to say that it definitely does look more premium compared to the current generation 300 series, but like always, not as flashy compared to the big Range Rover. Okay, let's talk about the interior. Comparing this with the 300 series on which this is based on, it definitely feels more luxurious. There's soft Nappa leather, wood grain in the centre, wood grain on the wheel and wood grain on the door panels. There is also a 12.3-inch screen up here and a 7-inch screen beneath that. I don't like the buttons nor the gloss black trim, so therefore a Range Rover, in my opinion, is the best when it comes to interior design. But of course, being a Lexus, it feels well built. You get a soft close door slam, soft padding up here, soft padding down here, a bit hard and durable down the bottom, but soft padding everywhere else you touch, even the center console. A nice Nappa leather wheel with electric tilt and reach adjustment. You can also heat the steering wheel, and the front row seats can also be heated, ventilated, and 4-zone climate control with functions on this screen here and buttons beneath it as well. And if I click on Climate Concierge, that'll automatically set the climate control and automatically set the seat heating and ventilation. And these seats are supportive. They are finished off in Napa leather and include electric seat adjustment, electric power lumbar support. For the driver, you can extend the bottom section, and there's a seat memory function with a button here to move the passenger seat forwards. And if I go into the infotainment system, a massage function for both front row seats as well. And like with most Lexus models, there's a 12.3-inch screen with functions on the right hand side, and overall the system works pretty well. There's wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, voice control, inbuilt navigation with 3D mapping, and going into media, sources, Bluetooth, FM, AM, DAB, Miracast, and an HDMI cable down the bottom here with 2 USB-C ports and a 12-volt socket, wireless phone charging and a spot here for your phone, and a really bassy 25-speaker Mark Levinson sound system. And you can also download an app onto your phone to check the status of your vehicle as the car is connected, and there's an SOS button up the top here to call for help. And you've also got a dedicated menu for your driving range and fuel consumption. Next, moving on to safety, there's a surround view camera system with a few different angles and views to pick from. And like it is on most Lexus and Toyota models, the picture quality is pretty poor. And even more so when you click on view, and it goes into a top view and a 360 mode as well. There are also front and rear parking sensors, rear cross traffic alert, auto dimming rear vision mirror, and if I flick this, it goes into a camera-based mirror as well, autonomous emergency braking, blind spot monitoring, a lane departure warning, and a lane keeping assistant, radar guided cruise control, traffic sign recognition, a driver monitoring system, and this screen here is also customizable with 3 different layouts to choose from, and you can also change the configuration within those 3 boxes. So much better compared to the MY22 model, which only had a part analog cluster. And over the windscreen, a head-up display which is also pretty clear in terms of definition. Next, driving modes, but first on-road driving modes. You click this button, control this dial, and that'll swap it from Eco, Comfort, Normal, Sport, Sport Plus, Custom, and as you can see it also changes the theme as well. And swapping from drive mode to MTS. These are your off-road driving modes between auto, dirt, sand, mud, deep snow, and that'll automatically configure the traction and four-wheel drive settings for that terrain. And for on-road driving, the car does run permanently in four-wheel drive high range, and you flick this dial to swap it into four-wheel drive low range. And when I swap between drive modes, which shows a G meter, MTS, it shows you a dedicated off-road screen, and these buttons here are to raise and lower the suspension, and this button here, DAC crawl, is both your off-road cruise control and your hill descent control. And this button enables your center diff lock, and you can get a front and rear diff lock, but that is only on the Overtrail, the off-road version. And next, storage. There's a small glove box which fits in the owner's manual first aid kit, a double opening glove box setup with a bit of storage and a cool box, 2 small cup holders in the center, and like I said, wireless phone charging and a spot here for your phone. The door bin pockets are quite small, they don't really fit a large water bottle. And up here, grab handles, a sunglasses holder, vanity mirrors behind the sun visors, a little storage section over here as well. And with the suspension in its low setting, it is an easy car to climb in and out. You also get a remote key, keyless entry, and push button over on this top section. Here in the back, with this seat set in my position, knee room is okay, but toe room is pretty tight. You do get good headroom, and you can recline this backwards and forwards. Stadium style seating, which means you have good visibility up front, and over in the middle, the floor does sit up high, so knee room is okay, but toe room is pretty bad, but headroom is pretty decent. So what else? You can access the fridge by opening up that compartment, directional air vents with your own climate panel, seat heating and ventilation for the 2 outboard seats, and beneath that setup, connectivity, a 12-volt socket, 2 USB-C ports, an HDMI port and headphone jacks. And you also get these 2 touchscreens behind the front row seats, where you can control the radio, Bluetooth, USB, connect up Miracast or connect an HDMI cable. There are also map pockets down here. The door bin pockets aren't really that big, but you do get grab handles here and here, directional air vents, a manual sunshade, and a flop down armrest with 2 small cup holders. And finally, for child seats, 2 ISOFIX points and 3 top tether points. Now this car I'm featuring has been fitted with the optional 7-row seating, but as you can see, I've got no knee room. So if I move this in its upright position, there is more knee room, but no toe room, and my legs don't look that comfortable. And you can recline these electronically to give yourself a bit more headroom, but really the 3rd row seating is only suitable for small kids or short trips. And it is pretty common to see this across cars in this segment. But you do get grab handles, directional air vents, a light up here, 2 USB-C ports on either side with 2 cup holders, storage pockets, and buttons to control the electric seating. All models across the Lexus LX range receive an automatic power boot lid, which you can activate with the key, your foot, the button inside. But of course, being a body-on-frame 4-wheel drive, boot space is compromised compared to your typical SUV. For example, with the optional 3rd row in place, you don't have any space for large bags, but you can fold down the 3rd row electronically using the buttons, and that is going to give you enough space for large bags, suitcases, a pram. And if you are going to carry something long, you can fold down the middle section in the 2nd row or fold down the 2nd row altogether. And on your screen are all the key dimensions on boot volume for your reference. And if we have a look around on the left hand side, you'll find the location for the jack. There is also an AC 220 volt power socket, shopping bag hooks, tie down points to keep items secure. On the right hand side, the location for the fuse box. And beneath this section, the toolkit and first aid kit. And lastly, one key feature that you do not get on most SUVs, a full-size spare wheel. In total, there are 3 different powertrains to pick from. The first one is the Lexus LX 500D, a twin-turbo V6 diesel, which is a powertrain that you'll find in the 300 series. And then there's this, the LX 600, a twin-turbo V6 petrol, the same engine from a Lexus GX, only with higher output, and it's also been derived from the Lexus LS 500 sedan. There's a full-time 4-wheel drive system, matched with a 10-speed torque converter automatic transmission, and this car makes 305 kilowatts of power, 650 newton-meters of torque, and like I said, based on the current generation Land Cruiser, sharing the TNGA F body-on-frame platform, adaptive damping on all 4 corners, along with active ride control, where you can raise and lower the suspension. And when it comes to towing, 3.5 tonne towing capacity and an unbraked figure of 750 kilograms. And in terms of off-road driving, approach and departure angles aren't as good compared to the 300 thanks to the front, side and rear body kit. And stepping up to the LX 700, the same petrol V6 but adds on a parallel hybrid system along with an electric motor, generator and clutch between the engine and 10-speed auto. Okay, driving impressions. Over the bonnet there's decent forward visibility, and you also have a commanding driving position so you can see right in front of you, good side vision, wing mirrors are decent size, and at the back rear vision is also pretty good. But keep in mind, if you do option for the 7 seats and whip them up, vision is not so good, but you do get this camera base mirror. The 360 camera could be a bit better, but despite all that, it feels so much better comparing it to the previous generation LX. You have electric steering, adaptive damping, height adjustable suspension which keeps the car level, so it's less boat-like and more like a passenger vehicle despite it still being on a body-on-frame construction. And just listen to the interior. There's hardly any wind noise, good insulation through the windows, and no tyre roar. It definitely feels more premium comparing it to the 300 series. But does it feel more luxurious comparing it to a Range Rover? Well, no, it doesn't. It still feels like a posh Toyota, and that's not a bad thing in some ways, but I still think a Range Rover definitely does drive better as a touring car and feels more luxurious. You do also get front and rear disc brakes, a little bit of nosedive when you hit the brake pedal, and acceleration wise, it's pretty punchy despite not having a V8. The V8 obviously sounds better, but this is fine. Good power delivery, smooth 10-speed gearbox, and the full-time forward drive keeps you on the road on a wet surface. I didn't really come across annoying beeps and bongs. The adaptive cruise control is easy to engage. You don't get the touch-sensitive buttons like what you do get on the NX and some of the other Lexus models. So driver assistance-wise, it's pretty good. And the official fuel consumption figure for this car is 11.9 litres per 100, and that is for this twin-turbo V6 petrol. On average, with a mixture of city driving, freeway driving, country driving, it's showing me 13.8. And on the diesel powertrain, they have a claim of 8.9, but realistically you'll get between 10 and 11. And the hybrid version, I haven't driven that yet, so stay tuned. I've got a review of that coming very soon. So let's now go off-road. Okay, time to go off-road. Like always, nothing too hardcore. This is just to get a feel of what this is like off-road. So we're in four-wheel drive high range. I'm going to engage the mud drive mode and see how this goes without the center diff lock engaged. So as you can see, going up here, no troubles at all despite having highway terrain tyres. But it's also quite relaxing being an LX, which is pretty nice. And the throttle response is pretty good. Good braking feel, not too lurchy, you've got plenty of control. And of course it might be a little bit wide on certain tracks being a Land Cruiser based platform, but yeah, on the open road and on open off-road circuits, it's very good. When you adjust the drive modes, the suspension raises to give you better clearance, but the mud flaps do touch. It's got pretty big mud flaps, and yeah, compared to the Land Cruiser, it's got a body kit being a Lexus, so you will need to keep in mind that it might scuff a bit. Another feature I want to talk about is the DAC crawl control function, which is basically your off-road cruise control and your hill descent control at the same time. So using it as a cruise control, if you're going over rocks, if you want to give your right foot a bit of a break, it's a fantastic system. You can adjust the speeds to go a little bit faster. And again, it's pretty controllable. Even going down this hill, it's not slipping, it's not too fast. Sure, if you are experienced, you'd probably want to do this yourself if you're going down a slippery surface. Now, because you can engage the center diff lock in four-wheel drive high range, we're going to go back down and up the hill in high range and see what it can do without anything engaged, and then we'll try out the center diff lock. So here we go, back down again. It's pretty controllable. Good feedback through the pedals. It's a big car too. And yeah, obviously nothing too different going down, but what about going up? I'll just reverse. Now I'll go towards the right to get one of the wheels off the ground if they do reach the air. Okay, losing traction a little bit. But as you can see, yeah, it just goes up, no problems at all. And now we're going to try the center diff lock. 4-wheel drive, high range. Let's see what it can do. Now the reason I'm pulling to the right, because it just lets the car work a little bit harder and gets the car to maintain traction. And as you can see, pretty good. No surprise there. Okay, what is my conclusion on the big LX? Why would you buy this over a Land Cruiser? Well, it does feel a little bit more luxurious, and you do get that off-road capability, the resale value, the reliability as well. But that said, a Range Rover does drive a lot better, even though it is more expensive. And if you don't care about off-road driving, a BMW X7 7-seater is still a great driving option. But if you are shopping around and you're willing to wait, definitely check out the Nissan Patrol, because that is coming very soon. And I think that will match the value pretty well. But tell me what you would do. Which would you purchase? And for more content, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell. Let me know what you want me to feature next, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.